What is the big announcement?
Los Angeles, California, I will be running for mayor. And I am so excited to announce this to you with all my heart. I plan to fight for a state in the city of Los Angeles. And I'm just excited.
I'm excited too. So did this all begin with what happened at Gold's Gym in that totally viral piece of tape?
Yes, absolutely. I was just thinking about this. I was like, this was not on my bingo card for 2026 at all. But, you know, this experience just woke something up in me, and it caused me to have to look out and see where I would be able to get help. And at first, I was actually looking for a candidate to support because I didn't even think that I would do this. And as I looked through the candidates who were running and what they stood for, I said, there's no one that I could support there. So I said, well, I got to do it myself.
That's amazing.
So this is Tish Hyman. If you guys don't know who she is, she's the woman that had the incident at Gold's Gym where she was in the locker room and there was a man in there. He said he was transgender, but really he was a man wearing a halter top in the locker room. She felt uncomfortable, felt like he was looking and staring and making her uncomfortable. So she made a ruckus about it. She went into Gold's Gym and they were like, hey, she was telling everybody, I don't like him. Look what he's doing. And she's saying that this is a problem. What I like about her is she wants to protect women's rights. She wants to keep it separate. And the greatest thing about this, people will say, well, she's just going against transgender. She's going against the community. She's a lesbian. That's what makes this more powerful. She's a woman and she's a lesbian to say, you know what, transgenders need to have their own restroom. They should not be in with the women because at the end of the day, they are men. So she has a strong, strong personality, obviously, because she's from the Bronx, New York. But she really felt passionate about this, and she will go to different candidates in California and she will ask them a simple question. What do you think about women's rights? Should men be in the bathrooms with women? And their answers made her really upset because they couldn't answer it clear cut. So I guess now it looks like she got, you know, the strength to go ahead and run for LA mayor. The one thing I can tell you about how we look at politics now, it's not your normal way now. If you have the influence, you have the power to be able to influence people to vote for you and put you into office. Really curious to see what she thinks about the other issues: LAPD, fire, Palisades, immigration. I think once she goes into a debate and she be able to talk about these things, I'm really curious to see how she's going to do and what her answers is going to be because she will be opened up like a book. And I think just because of her strong personality, she will not fray from that. I think she would tackle it. I'm just curious to see what her answers are, just like the rest of California. We have a lot of people in this candidate in this race now. Have about 20, they said. Karen Bass, Spencer Pratt jumped in. A former LAUSD superintendent, another housing advocate jumped in. So it's about 20 people. But the people that have the most, I want to say, influence is her and Spencer Pratt. Spencer Pratt, he got in it because of the Palisades fire. She's gotten into the race because of women's rights. I think that she has a bigger issue than the Palisades fire. I know the Palisades fire is going through some stuff. I know a lot of people lost a lot of homes, but she's fighting for women's rights. So she might be on to something. I'm just curious to see, is she going to be the candidate that only focuses on one thing, or can she be a candidate to talk about everything? Because there's a lot of hot topics. Palisades fire is a hot topic. LAPD is a hot topic. Fire department, housing, immigration. We love to see these people get into these races, but what do you have to say about the issues at hand? Because we know LA, especially the city of LA, has problems in every department. So I'm curious to see what she says, and let's see if we can scroll forward to her when she was talking about her incident. I believe it's right here. Let's see.
It. And just describe a little background
Oh
about
yeah, it's
how
right
you
here.
started to see, was it always this one guy in the women's locker room or was it other guys?
So basically, I had four different experiences in a 2 week span, and it was three different men. The
Mm.
first time
Wow.
was a 25-year-old. Maybe, I don't know if he was 25, but he looked young. And I turned around and I'm naked. I'm like, oh my goodness. And I just say, sir, I didn't get anything else out. And he was just like, you can't tell me nothing. B word, I'm a woman. Very aggressive, very
Mm.
angry.
Mm.
And I was naked, so I'm just in a state of confusion, shock, and I'm pissed off because I'm like, who are you calling a B word? I'm not used to being
Yeah.
disrespected in my everyday life. I respect people and I give it, I receive it. So that was the first thing. And it's just like complete shock. I couldn't believe it was happening. So now I'm screaming in the locker room, like, hey, ladies, do you see this? There's a guy in here. You guys okay with this? Like, am I crazy? Like, what's going on? Staff comes in. And they weren't able to force him out, but I was making so much noise that he just left. And, he didn't leave the locker room for good. His lock was still on the locker in place, but they made him leave as I got dressed. And after I got dressed, I went to the staff and I wrote a complaint. And I was trying to figure out what to do about this. And then they kept saying, our hands are tied by law. And I was confused because I was like, there's no way, there's no possible way that there could be a law that lets him in women's locker rooms.
She was about to say, ain't no way, ain't no nigga. But she was like, hold on, I'm on Megan Kelly. Let me stop. She was about to say the nigga. She was about to say it. I'm rocking with her because I can already tell. She don't play around.
When they're naked. I just couldn't even believe it. And so I went home. That day I actually posted about it on Instagram right away because I was just I felt violated. I'm a lesbian woman. I haven't been naked in front of a man in decades. Not only that, but just the disregard for my naked body and being called this word and just the whole thing was just like, a whirlwind of emotions and all negative emotions, which I don't usually feel on a day-to-day basis because I live my life in gratitude. So yeah, and then, I went home, I spoke about it online, and then my sound got muted on Instagram. It went kind of viral, but I had a lot of pushback from the community there. And it muted my sound, so I felt like silenced in a way, and almost like...
What do you mean it muted your sound? You mean actually the sound on the video got muted, or you're
yes,
speaking
the social media is, I don't even know what's going on with social media, but they pick and choose what they allow you to post.
She's exposing stuff. She's exposing stuff. She just said it. I posted something about my personal experience. I'm telling people about my experience. And I was getting some pushback, but next they silenced. This is why it's all about having your own platform sometimes, because it's tough, because there could be so many people hating on you online to where they can continue to call your thing spam to where you get silenced. Or the social media platform might silence you as well. That's why this social media is real tricky. That's why it's good to create your own platform, to get your own influence and transfer them to your own little club, because it's really tough to grow. Because at a time, there was a time on social media where there was a lot of censoring. We know what it was during the Biden administration. They was censoring everything. If it was against the movement, they was censoring. But it's so funny. Now it's a little different that people aren't censoring all the things that they're saying against Trump, though.
And I guess what I posted wasn't something they wanted me to post. So it just was like, I went back to it. After it went viral, it went mute. And I was like, well, I got to take this down because it looks like it doesn't make sense. And there's just like a bunch of hate in the comments. And it was a lot of, stuff going on. So I was just like, all right, let me take this down. And so now I'm trying to just like, okay, now I'm realizing that not only is it a problem and there's nothing that can be done legally, there's something online that is like, it's restricting me from speaking about it. I felt silenced and I felt scared at this point because I am in the music industry and I didn't want to, there was just so much going on at once. I just got scared. And then I was like, all right, take this down. Maybe this is an isolated incident. Go to the gym the next day. And the next day I go back. I'm just trying to get back to my life. And who I walk into? This Alexis Black guy. And this time I'm like, yo, hey, I can't deal with this right now. I can't deal with this right now. What are you doing in here? You can't be in here. Oh, B-word, I'm a woman. You got to get with it, sister. And I'm just like, no, you're not. At this point, I'm a little more elevated. And I'm like, not with that big D, you're not. I can see it. You need to get out of here. You got on tights. You got on tights and a freaking tank top. Just get the hell out of here. So I'm just trying to like force it out. And then he was like arguing back and forth with me. I said, well, stay here. I'm calling the police. And he's like, I got things to do. No. So he left. I called the police. Of course, they never showed up. Now I went and made another report and nothing was done.
So basically, we know what she's standing on business for her campaign. She's really pushing for the women's rights. She's really pushing for the women to have their own separate spaces, which is, I see that. I see that she's passionate about that. I see that she's really going to run her race with that being the first thing on her, talking points. But we have to see more out of her. What else can she talk about with the same type of passion? What else does she think about in the many other issues that LA has, right? Will she get the support? I believe that people will like her because she's a different type. She's not like a rollover like a Karen Bass is, right? She's more like a bull in the china shop, kind of want to fix things and get things done quickly. But I'm just curious to see how she will be in the debate. How will she feel about other things? Is she just doing this for exposure, or is she actually doing this to make LA better? So I'm curious to see what it is going to be for Tish Hyman for running for mayor. I'm always going to be, happy that we got a sister jumping in there, and we'll see what happens. So, we'll just see. Okay. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. As always, going to keep this thing rocking. Go get a Patreon coming soon. We got the No Filter Morning Show coming very, very soon. Working on that. Let's see what Tish Hyman is going to do. And we're just going to keep it rocking, keep it rolling. I'm out.